Well, hi boys and girls, it's good to be with you again, isn't it, Alfie? Yeah, you love talking to the boys and girls, don't you? And we've got another story for you this afternoon. You got something to tell me? You're not friends with Oscar? Oh, what's happened this time? Has he done something to annoy you? He's done something really bad. Oh, right. Are you going to tell me what it is? He's been stealing apples? Oh, that's not very... I wouldn't have thought that of Oscar. One of his friends made him do it. Well, that's not really a very good friend, is it? Or somebody who tries to make you do bad things. He tried to get you to go along. Did you go? I'm so glad. But Oscar says he doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. Why? Because you wouldn't go with him? Well, I must say, Alfie, I'm proud of you. Because if you had gone with Oscar to do some stealing, I'd have been very disappointed. You wouldn't do that. Oh, I'm glad. It's wrong, I know, it's wrong to steal. But perhaps I'll have a little chat with Oscar. Do you think that might help? You want to be friends with him again? Yeah, okay. I'll have a little chat with him, okay? But you know, boys and girls, sometimes people can make us do, or try to make us do things that we know are wrong. And it's always good to know when to say no when that happens. Actually, Alfie, I got a story today about some boys who are willing to say no, even though it could have ended them up in big trouble. Do you want to hear the story? Does it have a happy end? You always ask, does it have a happy ending? Yes, it does. And I think it's got a great ending myself. So you ready? Right, okay. You won't interrupt. Okay. Well, this is about three young men. They weren't really boys. And they started their lives living in the land of Israel. They loved and followed God. But one day an enemy army came along and carried them away, far away to another country. Yeah, it probably was quite scary. And they carried them right across a long desert until they came to the land of Babylon. And there they were made to live in that country. Well, to start off, things didn't go too badly. But then one day the king, whose name was Nebuchadnezzar, that's a very funny name, I know. Wait till you hear their names. He built a great big statue. It was huge. It was 90 feet tall. Yeah, that's big, isn't it? It's bigger than a house, yeah. And it was made of pure gold. Yeah, gold is very expensive, so it must have cost him a lot of money to make. And Nebuchadnezzar said, when you hear my orchestra playing, everybody is going to bow down and worship my statue. Do you think that's good? No. God says we should only worship him. That's right, not statues. And these three men, they knew that to bow down before the king's statue was wrong. Their God would not be pleased with it. And so these three men, no, I know, I haven't told you their names yet. Okay, are you ready for this? Okay, it's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Can you try and say them? Okay. Not quite. Not your shack, my shack, and a bungalow. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Difficult, aren't they? Yeah, okay, you're not going to try anymore. Anyway, they knew that they shouldn't bow down to this image. So, the next day, when all the orchestra started playing, everybody bowed down on the ground, except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stayed standing. And of course, everybody saw that they were disobeying the king. They brought them in front of the king. And they said, Your Majesty, we found these three men who refused to bow down to your image. The king was furious. He said, "What? You dare to disobey me?" "Yes," they said, "we only worship God. We only serve God." "Well," he said, "if you don't bow down and worship my image, I'll give you one last chance. If you don't do it, I'm going to throw you into a big, hot, fiery furnace." That is scary, yes. And it can really spoil your day. I think it'd do worse than that. It'd burn you up. And do you know what they said, Alfie? They said, "Your Majesty, our God who we serve can save us from your fire. But even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow down. We'd rather be burned up than to disobey our God." Well, the king was so annoyed. He was furious. He was blazing. Like the furnace, yes, like the furnace. So he said, "Tie these men up and throw them into the fire." Now, boys and girls, I think you'll find that was pretty scary, don't you? Yes, I did say it's got a happy ending. No, the king didn't change his mind. They tied them up and they threw them straight into the fire. And the king thought, "Ha, that's got rid of them. I'm going to go and have a look." And he went across and he had to shield his eyes because the fire was so bright. But then he looked and he said to his servants, "Didn't we throw 3 men tied up into the fire?" "Yes, Your Majesty." "Well," he said, "I can see 4 men walking around in the middle of the fire. And the 4th one looks like God." Actually, what he says was, it looks like the Son of God. The king, he walked across to the mouth of the furnace and he shouted in, "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, come on out." And the 3 of them walked out. Now, Alfie, do you remember last year we were down on the beach and we lit a big fire and we cooked some sausages on it and we had a lovely time sitting around the fire? It was fun, yeah, but do you remember after we got home what you were like? Yeah, that's right, you were smelly. What were you smelling of? Smoke. Yeah, when you've been by a fire, you smell of smoke. Don't know if you've ever noticed that, boys and girls. Well, the king, he looked at these men. The ropes that were binding them up, they disappeared. They'd been burnt away. But their clothes weren't singed and their hair wasn't singed and they didn't even smell of smoke. And the king said, "What happened?" And they said, "Our God came to help us." "Well," said the king, "from now on, I'm going to make a new law that everybody has to worship your God because he is the true God." And God saved Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego and kept them safe. And they proved that their God was great. Do you know, boys and girls, we can learn a lesson from this. The best lesson is that sometimes we have to stand up for what's right. And sometimes we have to say, "No, that's not right. I'm not going to help you on that because it's wrong." God loves it when we do the right thing. I hope you do. I hope you do things that are right. Just like Alfie did when he didn't go with Oscar. I think we're going to have a chat with Oscar, don't you? A good idea. We could tell him the story. We'll let you know next time what happened with Oscar. For now, see you soon. Bye for now.